At my dad's retirement party, my brother handed him an envelope and said, "Open it. Everyone needs to see what you really are." My brother Danny had been the family disappointment for as long as I could remember. He dropped out of college, couldn't hold a job, got divorced twice, and spent most of his 20s bouncing between our parents' basement and questionable apartments. Meanwhile, I followed in Dad's footsteps. Law school, junior partner at his firm by 30, engaged to a woman he approved of. Dad would shake his head whenever Danny came up. "I tried so hard with that boy," he'd say. "Some people just can't be helped." I believed him. We all did. Dad was a respected attorney, a church deacon, the guy who organized charity golf tournaments and mentored young lawyers. When Danny stopped coming to family events 5 years ago, none of us blamed Dad. We blamed Danny for being too proud to accept that he'd failed. The retirement party was at the country club. 200 guests, open bar, a slideshow of Dad's 40-year career. Danny walked in halfway through the speeches. He looked different, healthier, calmer. He was wearing a suit I'd never seen before, and he walked straight to the podium where Dad was standing. My stomach dropped. I started moving through the crowd, ready to intercept whatever scene he was about to cause, but Danny just smiled and handed Dad a large envelope. "I got you a retirement gift," he said into the microphone. "Open it. Everyone needs to see what you really are." Dad laughed nervously and waved it off, but the room was silent. People were staring. Danny didn't move. Dad opened the envelope slowly, still smiling for the crowd. Then his face went white. "What is this?" he whispered. Danny took the microphone. "That's a paternity test confirming I'm not your biological son. You've known since I was 3 years old. Mom told you the truth, and you decided to punish me for it." My mother, sitting at the head table, started crying. Dad held up his hands. "Danny, this isn't the place." But Danny pulled out more papers. "This is a forensic accounting report showing you've been skimming from the firm's client trust accounts for 18 years. You blamed it on me when I worked there as a paralegal. Told everyone I stole from clients. That's why I couldn't get hired anywhere in this city." I remembered that. Dad had been so heartbroken, so betrayed. He'd given Danny a chance, and Danny had thrown it away. Except Danny hadn't. Danny kept going. "You told my first wife I was cheating on her. Showed her fake evidence. She left me before I even knew what happened. My second wife, you told her I had a gambling addiction, that I'd drain our savings. She filed for divorce while I was at work." I looked at my father. His jaw was clenched. He wasn't denying anything. "Every opportunity I ever had, you sabotaged," Danny said. "Every relationship, every job, because you looked at me and saw proof that Mom betrayed you, and you couldn't forgive a 3-year-old for something he had no control over." Someone in the crowd gasped. I turned and saw my fiancée covering her mouth. Dad finally spoke. "You were never supposed to find out. You were supposed to just accept that you were a failure. That was your role in this family." The room erupted. People started leaving. My mother was sobbing, saying she never knew he'd taken it this far. I stood frozen, thinking about every time Dad had praised me in front of Danny, every comparison, every disappointed sigh. I'd spent my whole life being the good son, never realizing I was just a weapon Dad used against my brother. Danny looked at me. "I don't blame you," he said. "You only knew what he told you, but I needed you to see the truth." He turned back to Dad. "I've already filed complaints with the state bar. The forensic report is with the district attorney. Your clients are being notified." Dad lunged for him, but 2 guests held him back. "You ungrateful bastard," Dad screamed. "I raised you. I gave you everything." "You gave me nothing," Danny said quietly. "You just made sure I couldn't build anything for myself." The state bar suspended Dad's license pending investigation. 3 former clients have filed civil suits. My engagement ended because my fiancé couldn't look at my family the same way. Danny and I talk every week now. He runs his own consulting business in another state. Rebuilt everything from scratch. Last month, he invited me to visit. I'm still learning who my brother really is, after 30 years of believing the wrong story.